Okay.
And okay,
We're good to go?
I'm ready, Mike.
Okay, great. Hey, folks, thanks for joining us. I'm here today with Matt Marrash, ultra large format shooter. Hi, Matt.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
And I'm Michael Raso, oddball size film shooter. We
You really
both,
are now, Mike. You've come full circle.
absolutely, absolutely. What both Matt and I shoot both tie into what we're talking about today, which is I call it Ilford Film Special Order, also known as Ilford ULF Ultra Large Format Special Order. We're here in spring 2024, and we have until June 1st to get orders in.
It's the
I think
last week.
this is the last week, and folks will know that it's over because the products will just disappear from the website.
Gone.
So speaking of the website, I'm going to share my screen here. All right, so this is the first year film photography project is participating in the 2024 ULF special order.
Mhm.
Matt, you've been mentioning it to podcast listeners probably for 10 years.
Yeah, in fact, I'll say this is the most we've talked about the ULF ever within a single calendar year. This is like two special episodes in a row. This makes it really feel special.
Yeah. So if you go to filmphotographystore.com and the main banner is this special film order, you can click that and you will see all the questions you might have, when to order, when will I receive my film, terms, manufacturer cancellation, and my email address for people's questions are all right there. Um, we want Matt and I just really wanted to, bring this up front one more time for folks who have, special film needs.
Hmm.
So if we go to FP4, or so the choices are HP5 400 ISO,
Hmm.
FP4 125 ISO, or Delta 100 ISO. Let's go to FP4. So when you go to the site, there's a drop down, and by clicking the drop down, you could see all of the sizes. Can you see them, Matt?
I can see all the sizes. Yeah, it's all coming through. I like that you also included the tech details about the really funky films, like the 10-inch film, no perf, emulsion on a core. So this also kind of answers the questions of people that are working with like circuit cameras or
Right.
aerial cameras. Will this work?
Yep.
I know we've gotten a couple of emails about that so far, and truthfully, I still get about an email a week asking about some sort of like found film or funky format. So the timing for this is excellent, and I'm just so glad to see that FPP is offering it. But not just that, making it like super easy.
Yeah.
Mike,
No.
what
Yep.
I was telling you before you were like, "Hey, how should I roll this out?" I was like, "Put it all on one page because I can't tell you how hard it was to do pre-orders for this online. Most of the time I'd have to end up calling the place. Like I worked at one of the places and I had a hard time placing an order for the film. So it's just nice. It's refreshing to see that it's that simple to do. And I know I've already mentioned this. I feel like a broken record, but Mike, your prices are like excellent.
Oh,
Excellent.
so this is our first year doing it. We have no history with this product, and the FPP store were set up to offer film to our friends and customers and
Hmm.
podcast listeners, because the reason the store exists is because of podcast listeners saying, "Oh, hey, could you guys sell film?" And myself as a film shooter, I just want to find the best price, the best quality, the best price, and not get, raked over the coals price wise.
Which
Uh,
it kind of feels like anymore.
so I didn't approach adding these products to the website from any perspective. I didn't do very much comparing to other stores. It was all like, what is my cost and what is a fair markup? And what would I like to pay? So that's
Hmm.
that's how I came up with that. And as I mentioned, our first year doing it, let me go back to the screen. I was really thrilled because I asked Ilford, because in the past the formats that I shoot are 116, which is Kodak folder camera.
Hmm.
Um, 116 film is on a roll. It's 70 millimeters in width, and it's kind of really difficult to find, almost impossible to find. And in past years, Ilford has offered HP5, And for my purposes, I thought that 400 ISO was a little
Go
fast.
fast. Yeah, because those are older cameras, right?
Older cameras, the shutters are 1/50th of a second. They can't be altered. So I asked them, hey, can you make FP4 125 ISO? They said yes, which is great. So in the drop down for FP4, this is also
Nice.
available in HP5 if you are a speed demon. Uh, is right here, 70 millimeter times 50 feet.
Oh, nice.
And for 127 film shooters, and I know there are a lot of 127 film shooters out there who may not even be aware that 46 millimeter is 127 with film. That's very important to know. And it's also important to kind of mention, at least in this area of specialty that I shoot 127 film, so I know that people may look at the price and say, "Oh my God, 189.99." No, what are you crazy? That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
It
But
is.
actually, it's not because the amount of film on that 50-foot roll, when the amount of film on there, when you each roll is essentially costing you $8,
Oh, okay. So
which is a which
that's
is a
not bad.
bargain.
Yeah.
And I also have 127 and 616 are kind of specialized. I also have them not in the drop down. So if you go to 127 film, here they are.
Oh, that's nice. So even if somebody maybe they just found the camera, but they don't know about the ULF, they'll
Yep.
be able to navigate. That's great.
Yep. So I want people to know that if you don't want to navigate through the ULF drop down for 127, you could go to 127 film right on the left side of the screen that shows you the assortment. Right now we're carrying film from Shanghai that's, in a box ready to
Hmm.
shoot. We're also carrying Kodak Gold 200 also prepared by Shanghai.
Oh, that's
Uh,
pretty
and,
cool.
and as you can see, the price is $13.99 black and white, $18.99 for a roll of color. So that's when you look at the Ilford FP4, which granted, you do have to roll it yourself.
Hmm.
But, it says right here, the bulk roll will yield approximately 23 rolls of 127 film, which
Hmm.
comes to approximately $8.26 per roll. So that really, really is a bargain. And all you really need to do is to, go on eBay.com and you find some vintage 127 film
Hmm.
and you open it up. I mean, if you want to try and shoot the vintage film, that's great. But when you're done shooting, or if you decide not to shoot it, you take the film out of the little canister and then go into your bathroom or any room in your house that doesn't have a window, stuff some towels under the door, make sure there's absolutely no light, have a nice flat area. I actually have a
Hmm.
video about this
I
on
was
our
gonna say,
YouTube.
isn't your old rolling video
Yes.
still applies?
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah,
So you
it's
could
a good tutorial.
Yeah, you could just take your 127 film, lay it out, and strip in the new FP4. It's really not that difficult. And I know a lot of people watching this or listening to this probably already are already doing it and have been doing it. So just
Oh,
want to give options to people. I mean, yes, Matt,
question. All right. So with the 127, I know 120, right? It's got one piece of tape. Does 127, do you have to double tape it or is it single tape?
One
When
Piece.
you- Oh, okay. So this is not, it's really not that removed from if you've tried 120 or anything else.
Same thing applies if you buy the 70 millimeter FP4 or HP5 and you want to roll your own 116 or 616 roll film. Same.
Okay.
The film is taped at the head,
Hmm.
so you're starting at the tail and you're working your way up as you roll. There's a video online for that as well. And then when you get to the very top, especially on old backing paper, with your finger in the dark, you could feel where the old film was taped.
Yeah.
And that's where you have your tape and your scissors with you. That's where you would tape it, finish rolling it, and then that's it. You're ready to go. You pop it in your camera.
Very nice.
DIY solutions, folks.
And how about the rest of like the stuff you would need for DIY? Like I know FPP has the adapters. Do we sell spools for the bigger guys or just 620?
Right now, the only option is to go to eBay and
Okay.
get vintage spools. So FPP makes spools in 620, I
Hmm.
mean, that's easy because that's 41.5 millimeter 120 film.
Hmm.
So for 620, you could buy spools from the FPP and then just buy a roll of 120 and then swap it.
Okay.
127, we received enough requests that we're going to look into at first 3D printing 127 spools.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, because not everyone wants to use the backing paper. Some people want to use 35 millimeter film
Hmm.
to get sprocket hole photography.
Yep.
And there's only a dwindling amount of 127, 616, 116 original spools on eBay.com, and they're kind of pricey.
Yeah.
So
But this is a good option too, because I'm sure you've played with a fair amount of like super expired film. That stuff gets really tough to handle. Like
it's really curly.
super curly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's so dry, it's cracked up. So
Yep.
this is just like save the paper, save the roll, and then you've got fresh film stock. Okay, so what if I know the first time I tried rolling your own for 35 mil with the help of Leslie over at Imagine That a million years ago. Um, you almost never get the possible amount of film. So like out of a 100-foot load, you're always gonna like mess up a few. So even let's say I'm gonna mess up like one or two rolls worth when I get that 50-foot roll, that's still like what, $2, $3 less per roll than the cheapest black and
Absolutely.
white that's ready to go, right?
Absolutely. And when I get a roll of bulk film in odd size, I usually go in the dark and I usually snip one roll off that I could kind of play with
Like
in the light.
practice. Okay, yeah.
So I mean, personally, I sacrifice a roll just so I could practice rolling in the light
Hmm.
because preparation for rolling your own film is the most important thing. And when I say that, I mean the worst case scenario is like you're in the dark, you forgot your scissors.
Yep,
For
done that.
you forgot your tape. You like so I kind of lay everything out, prep everything first, then shut the lights off. And then I always say this in my videos, and I mean it sincerely, send your people away. Your people, your pets, get them all organized,
Yep,
inform them of what you're doing, not to be disturbed, especially
yep.
if you have children, because it's you don't want the film sweats. You don't want to be like sweating it
Hmm.
because you're probably not used to rolling or prepping film to begin with, and then if you have like your 5-year-old banging on the bathroom door,
High pressure environment. Yeah.
high pressure environment. So mark out your time. So this preparation of what you'll need and the time, that the hardest part's already done. And
Yeah.
then if you have that roll, that test roll, you could practice as much as you want in the light. And then once you get into the dark, it's kind of like becomes a piece of cake. So,
Okay, okay, Mike, last funky question. Because I know with like 35 millimeter and rolling your own, you do have like a little bit of leeway as to, how much you can throw in a roll. Are you able to make like fat rolls or like little shorter rolls, or do you really want to keep it to like the, 12 frames or whatever the standard is?
oh, I never even thought about that. So for 620, 616, 116, 127, I mean, I'm always rolling film into vintage backing paper, and I've never thought about doing a shorter roll. I mean, this especially applies if you're developing your own film.
Like doing a test. Yeah.
But if you want to just do a test with just a few exposures, sure, absolutely. Because I mean, there's so many hurdles.
Mm-hmm.
Because on top of the rolling process, once you master that, then you're dealing with your vintage camera. Does your vintage camera have light leaks? Are the bellows have any
Mm-hmm.
pinholes in it so that light is leaking through that? Is it
Yeah.
the first time you're shooting with that camera? That's why questions we receive here at the FPP, and we receive a lot of them, many of them are mind blowing because one question that, for one question I receive, I have maybe 15 questions I ask that person back. Have you ever sh-
Exactly.
have you ever shot with this film before? Have you ever shot
Mm-hmm.
with this camera before? Do you have any experience doing this? Um, you know, if it's a development problem, what developer did you use? What was the conditions? And I've found, and I know no one wants to hear this, but like 99.5% of the time, maybe even higher, it's user error. User error. And
Oh,
I
come on.
myself,
It's clearly the lab. What are you talking about? It's
No, no.
clearly FPP. It's clear.
It's never been the film, and it's never, almost never the lab.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's a
except
tough pill
for
to swallow.
except for, I see things on Facebook where people are like, my film came back, it's just a clear strip. Clear strip, no Kodak on the sprocket area or anything. I mean, so there are times where it's like, I guess
Very rare. Yeah.
lab will do fixer first. But that's, I mean, this is like an endless topic because then now we're getting into who's your lab? Is it a trusted lab? Is it a lab that's been in business for more than 2 years? Because there are so many pop-up labs,
Mm-hmm.
and bless them all. I think it's great, but the less experience the lab has, the larger room for error there's going to be because there aren't all those like safety lab tests that are in place at a place like the darkroom.com or
Yeah.
Dwayne's
They're
or
they're
any
not
other
pulling
lab.
test strips and doing
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh man. Kind of makes you want to develop your own and roll your own.
I I recommend I do recommend. I mean, the closest thing to instant photography with your 35 millimeter or up to a large format is just developing and scanning on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's what I do, and that's what I think, all of us on the FPP podcast, we all develop our own film.
Yeah. It's been quite a
Uh,
change to see that happen over the years.
except for John Fideli, who's still threatening to develop his own. But
Oh, I thought he did. I thought he tried one or two.
he tried the lab box once,
Okay, yeah, that's what it was.
and then he's back to just flipping me his rolls.
Oh man. Well, I will say, I'm terrified of doing motion, so I'm gonna keep sending
Okay.
you that.
Yeah, motion picture film, I do not develop myself. And the only person I personally know that develops
Is Owen.
himself is Owen McCafferty.
Yeah, I've considered just like shooting a bunch and then going to visit him, but that seems kind of mean.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Matt, do you have the tank yet?
so no, I don't have a tank yet. I have Takis has a tank though. He has the what's the double winder one? It's the
Oh, I don't know.
Bakelite. Morse tank? Yeah,
Morris tank.
he's got a
I'm not
Morse
familiar with the
G3.
tanks.
It's very it's funky. It's
Yeah.
like but it's really nice. It's got like this solid metal clip and it just clunk onto and the whole time
Yeah.
like you are just cranking one and then cranking the other. So it's super compact. It's the size of like a 3 reel Patterson tank, but I feel like I wouldn't want to use it unless I could hook my power drill up to it. You just
Right, right, right.
um otherwise it seems mind numbing because I guess you're limiting the amount of time um each bit of open emulsion is touching the chemicals. So like your developing time like triples or something.
Mm-hmm.
So like to do FPP 100 speed, I would be like zipping back and forth for like 20 minutes or
Oh yeah.
something. No way.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
We do have a video online for that Owen
I
recorded
remember that one.
to
Yeah.
develop your own black and white reversal film.
Hmm.
Um, So that, folks listening or watching, join us on the 15th of June. Myself, Matt, and Owen, we have our Film in Motion episode.
Love it.
But today, just wanted to give everyone a heads up. Now is the time. If you have any special film needs, large format, ultra large format,
Hmm.
the Film Photography Project Store, we are going to be stocking anything that's not a special order that Ilford carries, like Delta films in 8x10.
Yes.
Anything that we don't have, I'm going to bring a few boxes in for everyone.
Love
Uh,
that.
because that's not a special order. It's just, we just don't have the full array at this point.
Hmm.
And I think word has slowly been getting out that FPP, it's still, Matt, after all these years, it really still is like the secret club.
That's wild to me. It's
It
so
is.
wild.
It's we're so underground. And I know we're underground because when I go to big meetups, people are like, "Who?" And that's
Maybe
fine.
maybe
Anyone
you
that's
should just bring
watching,
back the hat and the trench coat, really sell the underground.
anyone that was listening and watching this podcast who orders from the FPP store, like, good on you. You're getting the best deal. There's so many folks who don't know that we exist. They just they head right over to Amazon.com
No, don't
just
buy film from
to
Amazon.
spend their parents' money. Uh, and I'm just thrilled to be able to offer the widest array of film that people want at great prices. It's not a hard sell, like you know what I mean. As far as I'm concerned, I
Here it
mean,
is.
I can't tell you how many times I've spoken to Dane. Dane is our webmaster. Matt, I even spoke to you. I said maybe we should put like a password on the site so that no one like only insiders can like order from the FPP store and
Oh, I
everyone.
remember you asked, that was like 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I just you know I want people in the know to buy from the FPP.
Hmm.
You know, everyone. I don't know, but everyone shut me down, Matt. Everyone's like, no, that's nuts.
Just leave it up. And here we are.
Doesn't make any sense. So yeah,
Yeah.
here we are. So next few days, June 1st is the cutoff. I'm gonna try to, as long as the page is up and the product's available,
Hmm.
you can place your order. So the way it happens is we take in our orders. I have to turn my orders over to the distributor. They
Hmm.
put the order in with Ilford, and then in a few months the film arrives and I ship it to the customer. So
It's the next best thing to Christmas, but it's like it feels very similar, but also it's kind of the same vibe as like when you're doing laundry and you find like, a 20 or larger, you're like, "Oh, this is,"
yeah,
because it's long enough that you kind of forget about it. Your bank
yeah,
account doesn't forget about it, but you forget about it.
yeah. So that's it. Leave a comment down below or write us podcast at filmphotographyproject.com. Matt, I got it covered?
Yeah, I think so. I just gotta figure out if I'm doing one FP4 and one HP5 in 12 by 20, or if I'm gonna spring for two in each size because I'm blowing through it this year in a
Okay.
problematic way.
And Matt, do you pace yourself out so that once you place your order, that does that last you a few years?
It does, yeah. So like I'm just now getting into my fresh film, and I
Okay.
started buying for that like 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
So you have to pad it out though because you don't know when a project's going to come. Like some people can really plan out their film, but
Right.
most of the I don't even consider myself like a shooter. I'm not blowing through film, but you never know when a cool project or cool opportunity is going to come your way, and having the ability to say yes to that is super important. Really, the only thing that's limiting me now is just other responsibilities and getting out to shoot. So that's a good thing.
Right. Uh-oh, my camera's making noises.
Oh, must
First
be
time
dying.
using DSLR, folks, as the source. So maybe this is our time to say goodbye.
All right. Well, we'll see everybody later. See you on the
Okay.
15th.
Oh yeah, on the 15th.